pleased to be joined by Sarah Kay, Director of Corporate Giving at Prudential Financial. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
You know, there are a group of people, I believe we have 9 experts, 9 people committed to urban education all across this state, this nation. Prudential Financial committed to urban education, particularly in Newark, because?
Well, Prudential's headquarters is here in Newark, New Jersey. We were founded over 140 years ago to really ensure that everybody has the opportunity to achieve financial security. And that opportunity begins with making sure that people have the right skill sets and that they're connected to quality jobs. And that begins with having a high quality education. And so for us, we strongly believe that a high quality education system is really important for a thriving city, of which we believe that Newark will become. It's also very important that it helps create pathways for economic mobility for underserved populations. For example, a high quality education could set them on the right pathway to get into a really good college or a really good career, whichever they choose to do, if they have the right fundamental basic skill sets that they learned in the K through 12 education. And it's inextricably tied to making sure that this nation has a skilled workforce. So at the core of it, we are a business and we want to make sure that we have the future workforce here in our headquarters cities of Newark, but also for these young residents to be able to go out wherever they want to go to in whatever location.
Sarah, let me ask you something. What do you think some of the most significant challenges that urban students face really are?
There's so many different challenges, like you mentioned, in terms of what urban students face. Here in Newark, you know, people live in different neighborhoods where their income level is very different, in addition to the types of resources and support. So even though it's so important that within the school building that there's good teachers, good principals, good curriculum, good community resources like arts education and sports, but at the same time, so much of what impacts a student is also outside of the school building. So what's happening at home, if they have food on their table, if they have safe passageways to the school building, do they have a good support network, whether it be their friends or their teachers or peers? And so there's so many different types of challenges that urban communities face because oftentimes many students are in a one-family home or they don't have their parents at home. They don't have the support system to help them with their homework. You know, I think in this day and age, especially in urban communities, we task our teachers and principals with a lot of responsibility of being the parent, the teacher, the friend, the supporter.
Is it different? Excuse me for interrupting. You know, we're only a few miles away. We're taping in Newark, New Jersey. And I don't want to point out any other communities, but say it's Short Hills, a particularly wealthy suburban community. Do you think we ask more of principals, teachers, educational administrators, people who deal directly with urban students, whether it's Newark, Jersey City, Camden, et cetera? Do you think we ask more of them than we ask of others?
It's not that we personally ask more of them.
It's more expected.
It's not, and again, it's not the expectations, but the teachers and the principals, they actually do more than the teachers and the principals in some of the suburban areas, just simply because of the nature of the community of where these students are coming from.
The needs are greater.
The needs are so much greater. Like I said, especially if they have only one family member at home who's working a day job and a night job, they don't have that support system to help with their homework. I mean, even in my friends that live in suburban communities, and they're trying to make that decision as to whether or not to send their child to a public school or private school, I always tell them the biggest difference is the resources that are at home. That makes a difference. Every public school teacher does their best, whether they're in the urban education or in the suburban area, but then there's so much more that the child faces in terms of challenges that can be help addressed at the home. And if they just don't have that stable home environment or they just don't have the resources there, then there is that difference that teachers end up doing more.
Sarah, help us understand something. At Prudential Financial, there's also a foundation very committed to the Prudential Foundation. Give me a couple of examples of exactly what Prudential is doing to help Newark school children in Newark schools.
I can give you a couple of different ways.
The ones that jump out, by the way, go on their website. We'll put it up to find out more. Go ahead.
Thank you for that pitch. We have a lot of investments that we've made financially. We support every superintendent that has come in to help run this school district. We've worked with the parents. For example, we support an organization, the Newark Trust for Education, that's really based on community members getting their input and really helping to understand what it means for the city to return local control. At the same time, we've made impact investments in creating cohesive communities, whether it be around charter school financing, Teachers Village. We were one of the leaders in that in providing financial investments. We invested over $65 million in that, but also really thought leadership in partnering with Ron Bates Group and then the architect.
The developer.
And just thinking about this concept of what does it mean to build this corridor where there are schools, there's teacher housing that's subsidized, and that there's retail space available. And so they don't necessarily feel like they are lacking in the resources and support. So we have a health clinic that's available there. We have a daycare center as well too. And so it's really making sure that the teachers feel like they have the resources to be successful.
Do you think most Americans who do not live in urban areas understand the challenges that teachers as well as students and administrators in urban areas like Newark face? And does that matter?
I think there are differences of opinions. I think some people who may either have grown up in the urban area or have work experience or personal experience in urban areas are a little bit more familiar with the challenges. Sure. I would say broadly, though, probably people misunderstand the challenges that students face in urban communities.
Hey, why can't they get their test scores up?
Exactly. Or why can't they finish their homework? Or what's going on with the teachers?
My kid does.
Exactly. And it's really about...
I don't mean that because ours don't very often, but right?
Yes. And it's about the support systems that are really necessary for a student to be successful. And that support system is it's like a whole orchestra. You need every single player to be there, and it has to take everything from the teacher, the principal, the coaches if they're part of sports teams, the after-school communicators.
The corporate community.
The corporate community, public agencies, the city office, all of these individuals. That saying, it takes a village to raise a child, is even more true when you're in an urban community.
Well, listen, Sarah Kay, who's the Director of Corporate Giving at Prudential Financial, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by Guarini Institute, United Airlines, University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey, PSE&G, the Turrell Fund, supporting Right from the Start NJ, the Fidelco Group, and by NJM Insurance Group. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.